Hello, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Jessica Stuckman. I have my master's in occupational therapy, and I also got my Bachelor of Science in biology and my Bachelor of Arts in chemistry for my undergrad. So I actually had to get my master's in occupational therapy.
Awesome. Um, so then, where or who do you work for?
So right now I worked for a contract therapy company. It's called Select Rehabilitation, and it's basically mostly in nursing homes, skilled nursing, which is a skilled nursing facility. They do also offer schools, an outpatient, but I haven't done those. Just mainly the skilled nursing. Right now I'm working in a hospital and a transitional care unit.
Awesome. And then, how long have you been working there for?
For this company, I think about 8 years. I graduated from Midwestern University in Downers Grove in 2007. So I've had my master's approximately almost 13 years. But with this company, I think it's been since 2012. And I'm currently the program manager of the TCU.
Do you like this job better than your past job?
I've kind of worked all over. I've done inpatient rehab at Marion Joy. I actually did a clinical there, and then I ended up working there. I've worked acute care in a couple different hospitals. I've done one of my clinicals was actually an outpatient hands for OT. The outpatient is usually upper extremity specialties. That was just a clinical. So far, I like the transitional care unit because it's short term. It's only usually 1 to 3 weeks stay versus some of the nursing homes. We would see patients longer than that, and we would also see some of the long term residents, the people that live there. And I think there is a stigma with working in nursing homes, but I think it really depends on where you're at. Like, it depends on, like I said, right now I like the transitional care unit because people go home. Nobody stays in the hospital. They all usually go home or they go back to an independent living facility. So we're really just trying to get people to be as functional as possible and stay home versus having to move into a facility. But if they do, it's usually just for the best.
That's awesome. So why did you decide to go down this route?
So I would say I really didn't decide until my 5th year of college. I did an extra year. I couldn't make a decision. I did end up in the health sciences, or that's why I did the biology degree, so you could go into a health science field down the road. And I did consider physical therapy, but when you looked at both, I kind of started liking the aspect of the functional piece of occupational therapy versus physical therapists. I felt like, we were really working towards, could someone get back home? How independent are they? Usually when I talk to patients the first day of an evaluation, they want to know the difference. And I usually tell them the physical therapists want to know how strong you are, how far you can walk, how many stairs you can do. But we look at, can you take care of yourself? Can you walk around your house so that you can get dressed, take a shower, use the toilet, just to be as independent as possible. And usually the people that we do get aren't used to needing help. So they, it's just a new situation for them. So to teach them, also like to teach them to be independent and also use medical equipment or adaptive equipment to help them get back to that independence is usually what keeps them home too, or set up caregiver services, whatever they need to be functional.
And you said you had 5 years of college?
I did my undergrad in 5 years. Because I played college basketball, so I actually transferred a year in there, and then it also gave me the extra time to do the Bachelor of Arts in chemistry. So I took a little extra elective courses just to try to figure out what I wanted to do, but then it also, for me, luckily, I think I came out of 5 years of undergrad with only maybe $2,000 of student loan because basketball did pay for it. So while I was there, I went ahead and maximized the classes and being able to not only get the Bachelor of Science but also the biology, but also the chemistry. So
That's really cool.
Mhm.
Next question. If you can't figure out something in your line of work, do you talk it over with others, or do you have to research it?
I think both. It depends on what the issue or the problem is. Luckily, I've had enough experience in a lot of different areas. I might have an idea of an avenue to take, but also definitely asking coworkers if they've seen something. And now, very popular is the internet. There's a lot of groups, therapy groups. If you really can't figure something out, Google search something. I think there's a lot more research sources online, but also I think the biggest thing for me too is just trying different things. You can never go into a patient session knowing like, hey, this is exactly what we're going to do, because someone might be doing something that just works for them. So you always want to listen to the patient that you're with on how they do something, or how they're comfortable doing something versus just being very rigid in this is what we're going to do.
That's very cool. So then, does that even happen very often? Like, do you not know what to do? You were saying you're very, like, you know what you're doing, but, like, does it even happen often that you have to look it up, or?
Um, yeah, I don't want to say I know everything, that's for sure. I mean, especially with the transitional care unit, we get people that are right out of the hospital that may have a lot of medical management. So you might not know, hey, this person has a history of XYZ. Well, I'm not real sure what Z is. So you have to go look it up and see maybe what their precautions are, what they've been through medically, what status they're at, as far as what the doctors and nurses are doing for them, and that's going to help decide what you're going to do in a therapy session.
Yeah.
So we definitely don't know everything, but usually you can find it out online or ask a nurse, ask a doctor. They're usually pretty open to telling you extra information.
And would you say your career is very, like, go, 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 or is it, like, laid back and you go to patient? It's not like you're always rushing?
It's pretty go, go, go. I think the demands of patient care and then balancing the documentation due to all the reimbursement changes. Most contract companies or even hospitals, even if you're an in-house system, they want your productivity to be a certain level, and it's usually pretty high, just because of, like I said, the reimbursement changes, especially now. They're less. So a lot of companies and a lot of hospitals are trying to have each therapist see more patients, which means more documentation, and then trying not to go into overtime. So it is a lot of go, 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 trying to balance getting all of your stuff done on time, because you really don't want that stuff adding up into the next day or the next day.
Yeah.
Because then it just piles on. So it's a lot of time management.
So what would you say are the advantages and disadvantages of this career?
I think the advantages right now, like for me, I like where I'm at with the short-term stays, and a lot of people improve a lot and they go home. So I'm lucky that I can see the progress. Most of the time, it's been a pretty steady job. Luckily, with all the COVID and the hospital work, I was able to go to work. It's not really a remote job, so I'm not sure if that's an advantage or disadvantage, but at least I was able to stay working, not get furloughed. But on the other hand, you have to take, they did turn us into a COVID unit. So we were seeing only COVID rehab patients. So you're putting yourself and your family and friends kind of at risk. But luckily, it was pretty well managed. Not every facility was managed very well. I do know of a lot of patients that got it. So it's a good thing and bad thing that you're able to work and get your paycheck, but then you're also putting your health at risk. I'd say other advantages though are, you meet a lot of different people, you learn a lot of things. I've been able to, learn even with myself how to manage different personalities, which can be it was at first a big issue for me, because you're getting all kinds of people, and some of the people don't want your help, but they need it. So I would say that. And then advantages also, I mean, I think every career you may run into a burnout, but at least you can change settings, which has kind of been nice to do a little bit of different things. Like I said, I've done inpatient in different ways. There's schools, there's early intervention, there's home health. I think there's ergonomics. I think, you can find an avenue for what you want to do if you are creative enough. It is a master's degree, so it does allow us to do a lot of things. On the flip side, I think you just need to be where I don't, for me personally, unless I want to go out of patient care completely, it's hard to really raise a ladder. You're working and, make a lot more money unless you want to go into like the regional management or more non-clinical care. So I would say that's a disadvantage, but other than that, I like that it's flexible, and being in program management where I'm at, I'm doing a little bit of both, the managing of the department, and I still see patients. So it's been a nice balance for me at this point. I also did a contract company temporarily, and I went and did a 13-week, I don't know what you want to call it, job out in California. So like it gives you the flexibility if you want to travel, to see other places. And that was pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite age group to work with? Like, do you have one, or do you just...
I'd say the most comfortable is adults and geriatrics. I haven't done a lot of kids. I've done some. So I think it's just a comfort level with what you've done. I've just mainly done adults and geriatrics, which has been, it's good and bad. There are definitely fun, older geriatric, but you're also going to deal with and find, the dementia patients and some of the people that just they don't want to do that much, and that's okay. You just have to learn how to manage each personality.
And would you say your hours are very flexible, or do you have like a very set time?
Right now, they're very flexible. Most of my therapists don't come in till a little later in the morning, so I can get there early and then leave early. Some of the hospitals I've worked in the past, you have a set schedule of 7 to 3:30 or 8 to 4:30. So it kind of depends on the setting. I think home health, you can make your own schedule. That's a lot more flexible. So it really depends on the setting.
All right. Next question. Some difficulties that you have had to overcome in your line of work.
I think trying to figure out, since I have had a lot of job changes, just trying to figure out which area I want to work in for the long term. It seems to be changing, like right now with 2 little kids, being a manager and having a flexible schedule. That's the biggest advantage to what I want right now. But, once I don't need that flexible of a schedule, I don't know. I don't know if I want to stay with geriatrics, or do I want to try maybe, I know there's schools, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, and then trying to figure out, okay, I haven't done those since I learned about them in probably school, so trying to figure out continuing ed courses, or kind of learning everything's, the principles are the same, but when the setting changes, it's just a comfort level back to, I'm not sure, I haven't worked with kids, would I like that? So that's one difficulty for me, is figuring out what I want to do in the long term. And like I said before, the other difficulty is working with different personalities and difficult people.
Yeah.
For sure.
Another question. If you could go back to school, would you choose a different route?
Another tough question. Maybe. Because I think that's tough, because if I didn't go through everything I've gone through and done the healthcare route, I wouldn't have all the experiences and the knowledge that I do. But maybe, I think it would be really interesting to maybe do like a physician assistant. I think the big thing right now is tech, maybe like cybersecurity, or, everybody's into the whole coding thing, but I don't know what the job markets are for all of those things, which you wouldn't know, after you graduate in 4 years, what it's going to be like. But
Mm-hmm.
healthcare has been pretty stable, but there's always going to be changes, and I'm sure that's how it is with, tech or even like the financial realm. I have a lot of friends that do that and seem to be pretty happy too, but I don't know if that's something that I would have gotten into and then been like, oh, this is too boring, I don't really want to do this. So it's hard, but I'd say maybe I would definitely consider looking in. I would just say look into a lot of different things and job shadow and see just kind of what makes you most interested to do it every day.
Yeah. Would you even consider different healthcare instead of just occupational?
I think so. Now that I've worked in a lot of different hospitals, like I said, the physician's assistant would be cool. I think you get a little more autonomy with that. You're still working under a doctor. I think pharmacy could be really interesting, and even maybe being a doctor. I don't know. So I don't know if I would have had the confidence to do that back in college, but I think after being around it and obviously I've picked up a lot more knowledge since working for 13 years, but definite possibility. I think you're always going to wonder. I think there's probably several career choices for everybody, what you could be good at and what you would like to do.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can really pigeonhole yourself into this is what I'm supposed to be. I think you can have lots of different interests that are going to make you good at several different fields.
All right. And then last question, what is some advice you would give me?
All right. The big ones, and I know people are probably telling you already, but if not, just make sure you look into all of the student loan situations, whether, I don't know if you have to deal with that now. Luckily for my undergrad, I did not. But then when I went on to get my master's, it's just something that really is going to affect you or your friends or whoever you end up marrying and your family for years to come. So definitely be very smart about an advanced degree. Not that you shouldn't get one. I think you should. But for example, like I said, I only had $2,000 coming out of undergrad, and then after grad school, I owed about $100,000. So for me, that's still lucky because a lot of people come out of undergrad and grad school with hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it's something that I think I think I still owe like 7 or 10 years on that money now. And you need to look at what you're going to be. And, it's hard to do in college. I probably would have laughed at someone that told me that, but after paying, these companies for years and years and years, taking, a lot of your paycheck, I would probably reconsider like where I went. Not that I didn't like Midwestern, but it was a more expensive grad school.
Yeah.
And then just being able to pay that stuff off. So just be educated. And also, I think I would have tried to get more of the scholarships and that stuff. So it does make a difference down the road. Even like I was lucky in undergrad, but even for my master's, see if there was anything out there to maybe just be a little more financially savvy looking back now.
Yeah. Would you say that even like when you're looking at careers, should you only be looking at what you would be happy doing, or should you be looking at like the price that you'll be getting and if you'll be happy doing it?
I think you should definitely look at both because there might be something out there that you don't even know what it is. I think that was one of my biggest issues when I was looking at majors. Like, I don't know what to major. I don't think I picked a major till my junior year because I didn't know what kind of jobs can you get with a biology degree? What kind of jobs can you get with a computer science degree? Like, you don't know what to pick because I almost felt like, okay, if I pick this, I have to do this. Well, It is a lot of pressure. It just feels like a lot of pressure, but just think that you can always change it down the line. But I would look at both. I would look at things that, you have to figure out how much you're going to make versus how much it's going to cost. And there's definitely different schools all over the place and different programs that are going to cost a little more and some might cost a little less. So it's just analyzing all of those things, making sure it's a decent program, but also making sure you're going to get the most out of it to get to where you want to go. And I think being able to talk to a lot of different occupations is super helpful. And like I said, the job shadowing, if you're able to, right now it's not easy to get into that with all the COVID stuff, but maybe hopefully next year or so you can just kind of see what somebody does during the day to see if you like it and what kind of a degree you would need to get into it.
Awesome. Thank you.